do that again real quick, do a review from last week and
Let's
go
do
over action steps.
Let's do a quick review, and I'm about to put the action steps from last one into the chat for everybody here as well. It was the what UVP are you going to lead with, and then were you able to join Mark each day for the live coaching? That was what we strongly suggested people take advantage of as well.
Okay, so yeah, let's pause there for a second, because we did I thought there was a really great training by Beatty on unique value propositions. If you guys didn't see the unique value proposition exercise that I laid out, it was in the private Facebook group last week, and I put all the documents from my, who your ideal client is going after, looking at your competitors' UVPs to see what's happening out there in the marketplace, and then it gave you a list of 11 different UVPs, to kind of brainstorm to go through that. So, did anyone not get those documents that were laid out in the private Facebook group? And if you need them or want them, then, oh, cool. So Dvorka said she joined the morning sales and marketing implementation program. How'd that go, Dvorka? We just launched that, so we're still critiquing it. We love feedback on it. How did it go overall?
She says great.
Good. Awesome.
Always love to hear it.
That's awesome. If you have any feedback, if there's anything that we can do to make it more user-friendly, or to make sure that you're getting the most out of the time investment that you're making, then we would definitely love to get your feedback on that. So that's good. Just by a show of hands, did everybody get the documents that I put in the Facebook group? Because I want to make sure that you have the UVPs and you have the proper exercise in your hand to clearly identify what UVP you're going to lead with and what you're going to go with. So when we tackle geographical farming and we kind of get to the end of this training, there's going to be a step-by-step roadmap. We're going to circle all the way back around, and we're going to go through the step-by-step roadmap on how to dominate the geographical farm. And we're going to kind of turn our final coaching session into all action steps. So I just want to make sure you got your framework down, but you're thinking through it. So we're ready to go for that. Any questions about the UVP before we move on, or the, otherwise known as the unique selling proposition marketing strategy? Anything coming through the chats there?
Linda gave us some great feedback on Monday morning. She felt like there was just the two of them doing some one-on-one, which is always a great feeling. Of course, we do usually have a lot of people watching, but it's great that you were able to get some good information out of there, Linda. So glad you were able to participate there on Monday.
Awesome. That's great. All right, Beatty, what do you say? Are we ready to move on? I'm new. Can you give me the Facebook group? Okay. Awesome.
Yep, I will send Tammy the link right now to make sure she can get in there.
Great. Also, too, I want to make sure, Clara, even though the class is still kind of being finalized, I want to make sure they have access to the geographical farming course. We're going to give you access to this. It's in pre-release right now, but we're going to give you access to this course in advance of anybody else on the planet having it. So let's post that in the private Facebook group, Clara, and then let's also give them the link in this chat, so that way they can get access to the whole course here. And it also has a recap of all the videos and stuff that we're talking about. We're actually officially launching that course next month. So we have a whole really cool thing launching next month. It's called it's going to be a 21-day challenge, and what we're going to be doing is actually taking the information that we've talked about, putting that in a step-by-step process and launching a challenge. And then the winner of that 21-day challenge, after they launch their geographical, after they go through their geographical roadmap and they implement the strategies, the person who gets the most appointments and the most listings in 21 days from that campaign, we're going to have a really special prize for you. So if you like a challenge and challenges kind of help you hyper-focus, then just be prepared. We're going to make an announcement the first week of September when we're going to start rolling out the promotion of that challenge and when that challenge is going to start. But you guys get an advantage because we're going over some of this material here that's going to be covered more in depth in the challenge. So just keep your eyes open for that course coming and the challenge. And Clara, let's give them access to the geographical farming course so they can get a head start.
She just dropped it right in the chat there. So for anybody's interested, you can register right through that link right there and you'll get full access to the course.
Yep. And it's free. I want to make sure it's turned off so they get access to it for free. So you can double check it. So it might, if they don't have a code or something, it might try to charge.
Clara says, yes, that's the free link.
Okay, good.
She's on top of it.
Good. Good. These are our VIP clients here on this weekly coaching session. So you get access to all of our courses for free. So I love prizes, Linda says. That's cool. Good. I like prizes too. That's good. So does anyone know what last mistake we left off with? Anyone remember? Anyone remember? I know we covered a lot. We've covered a lot of information. So just want to make sure that, does anyone remember the last mistake we left off with?
Janet says not having a plan.
That's right. Janet, I like you. Can we hang out sometime?
She takes great notes, doesn't she?
Seriously, can we hang out sometime? Like you're like on top of it. She must be taking good notes. So
for anybody new, just quickly, we reviewed having a sales and marketing plan implemented into your business. And if you want to catch up on that training, the recording is also in that Facebook group from this time last week.
Cool. Oh, you just posted it again? Or can we repost it maybe?
Yeah, Clara, if you can drop that back in here. I know we have a couple of new agents who would probably love to review that as well.
Cool. Awesome. Great. So let's go on to mistake number 4. And I'm going to share my screen here. Actually, it's not going to let me, so the host is somebody's going to have to give me screen sharing rights.
You should be good to go now.
Okay, Cool. All right. Mistake number 4, not using multi-channel marketing to convert your leads. This is going to be a fun one. Okay. So first things first, what the heck is multi-channel marketing? What does that term mean? Can anyone take a guess what that means? Anyone heard of it before? We got anybody dropping notes in the chat? Anybody? I think we got some notes coming in here.
We have some from Janet, of course. She says postcards, emails, and texts.
Cool.
Which is a great answer, but there can always be a little bit more there as well.
Yep, that's good. Different ways of marketing. Yep, that's good. Yeah, so here's one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs and real estate professionals are making in our industry. And part of it is actually not the entrepreneur's fault. It's partly the industry's fault because everyone kind of has their own agenda. So like if you talk to a lead generation company, right? What's the most important thing you need to be doing in the world? Generating leads, right? If you talk to a database company, right? Or somebody who offers a CRM, what are they going to tell you the most important thing you need to do is? Something to do with your database, right? If you talk to, and so like we have all this information out there and everyone's telling us what the number one most important thing to do is, right? And so my conviction is that in today's world, that if you're just using one marketing strategy, you don't have a business, okay? You have a funnel, or you have a marketing, a strategy. So for example, if you're just prospecting, okay, that's cool. That's one strategy, but that's not really that's not going to really scale your business. And so while all strategies can be effective, what the most effective is having a full-blown multi-channel marketing approach. Now, when you look at our sales and marketing work, it's built around this psychology. So it's built around using text. It's built around using email, using video, prospecting, postcards, newsletters, and having all of those strategies come together in an organized system, in a process to to achieve one goal, and that goal is this: get attention, which is the number one goal in marketing, and keep attention. It's one thing to get it; it's another thing to keep it. And if you do both of those really, really well, you're going to get more leads to convert faster and more often. And so that's really the key to the multi-channel marketing, why it's such a huge mistake when it comes to geographical farming, but also just database marketing in general, is not focusing on working on multiple channels. And so what we recommend is, if you look at the sales and marketing plan, is making sure that everyone's got a different budget, and I want to be aware of that. So if you can't activate all the channels at one time, don't get discouraged. Just work that into your marketing budget as you become more profitable. So for example, somebody who's got a smaller budget might start off by spending time prospecting, which is huge. It's one of the most important parts, one of the most important channels you can use in marketing is prospecting. And then they might complement that with email and texting, right? Very inexpensive forms of marketing. It requires your time and energy, and a little bit of money to send the texts. And if you have, obviously with our REN technology and database pro core service, you get 10,000 texts, is it? Or sorry, it's 10,000 emails and 2,000 texts, right?
20,000 emails actually.
20,000. Okay, thank you.
You've got a whole lot of them there waiting for you.
Yeah. So you're loaded, right? You're loaded. You're ready to go. You can deploy those. You can deploy your campaign, and it's laid out in your sales and marketing plan. And then what you want to, and then if you have as your budget grows, because I know everyone has different budgets here depending on where they're at with their business, then you start getting into other things like direct to voicemail, which is still a very inexpensive strategy. Postcards, very, very powerful, effective strategy. And then somewhere, not in any particular order, but launching a Facebook retargeting campaign. And one of the things that we're really excited about, we have Beatty here, him and I have been working together on and off for about 3 or 4 years now, Beatty, right? Somewhere along those lines.
I think.
Yeah, and so what we're working on, and you can always do this independently, right? If you go down the checklist of all the multiple channels that you can use our technology, let's go down the checklist, okay? Jonathan, they use text through our technology?
100% yes.
Email?
Yep.
Video?
Oh yeah.
Video marketing?
Video via email, text, and social media through our program. So
right.
You get all three.
All three, right? Can they launch a Facebook ad through our platform now?
Yes.
In beta.
In
beta.
Put it out there. In beta.
But if you want to be a part of the beta test, let us know, because we'll get you registered to be part of the beta test. But what's really exciting is in the past, you either had to go pay somebody a bunch of money to manage your account, which we do have an option for you called Lead Gen Pro, where we'll actually manage your Facebook ads for you. But if your budget doesn't permit that, now you can actually go in to our portal and launch just listed, just sold ads. You can launch retargeting campaigns. So for when, going back to geographical marketing, imagine having a Facebook ad, right, pop up in front of a hot lead that's ranked in our system in your geographical farm. How powerful would that be? And then they see a text, and then they see an email, and then they see a video, right? And then they see social media. And then also too, then they see the postcard. What's going to happen to your conversion rate? It's going to skyrocket. Okay, it's going to skyrocket. We have a powerful story that just came in that I want to share with everybody about the power of geographical marketing and using a multi-channel marketing approach. Okay, not everybody can afford an inside sales agent, right? That is a huge part of your multi-channel marketing approach. Okay, but this is a story of somebody who had an inside sales agent. Okay, his name was Glenn. How long has Glenn been with us? Any idea, Jonathan?
At least 8 months to a year, I want to say.
Okay. So he calls in to our sales and marketing support team, and there was some profanity, so I'm going to keep the profanity out, but it was in a positive way. It wasn't anything negative. But he goes, I'm so pumped. I just got a $750,000 listing. But he said
it was
a few
very
other
colorful.
words.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very colorful there. And like, so the marketing coordinator's like, oh, cool. What happened? And so basically what happened, his inside sales agent was calling and prospecting through the leads, and he noticed the inside sales agent wasn't calling the hot ranked geographical leads. So he picked up the phone because he saw what was they were getting texts and emails right through the campaigns that we were running. We saw this person was interacting with him, and it was ranked hot. So he called it. The lady goes something like this for Jonathan, right? The lady goes like, yeah, it's funny that you actually called, because I was just thinking about who I was going to reach out to start interviewing to list my property.
She referred to him as like a Zoltan. That how did you read my mind? How did you know? Like she literally said she really started considering reaching out to someone literally that the day before, or like just right within those 36 hours. She really started to go out there and start putting her feelers out, and he was just there at the perfect time for her.
Yeah, right place, right time, and the technology helped that. And it wasn't just the behavioral scoring and ranking. It was the text, it was the emails, and then it was picking up the phone, right? It was all of it coming together. And what was even greater, and I want you guys to write this down because this is a powerful close, okay? When you go out to an appointment that was ranked by our artificial intelligence, and you run into a situation like this. So the lady says, hey, I just want, he goes through his whole listing presentation, the walk through the whole bit. And the lady's like, well, I want to reach out to a couple other agents, and I want to just, meet a couple other agents and kind of make my decision. And he goes, hey, that's totally fine. I respect that. But let me ask you this. Do they have technology like I have that knew that you were going to be selling before you actually were? And do you really want to work with an agent that has to reach out to you, or leverage my technology platform to also help you sell your home? And she goes, that's a really good point. And she signed up on this, like she signed up on the spot. So he was pumped up. It was a really, really cool story, and just a good example of the power of multi-channel marketing at its best.
And think about that is UVP as well. Who else in your market can say they're using a technology like that to help identify sellers primarily, but also to build your pipeline of buyers down the way as well? Yeah. It's just a great UVP if you're looking for one to add to your arsenal there.
Awesome. So I want to kind of open it up here and talk about just multi-channel marketing in general, because I want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable implementing the sales and marketing workbook, feels comfortable with the tools. Any questions about any form of marketing, or maybe there's something you want us to take a deeper dive in when it comes to multi-channel marketing, how it should work, anything along those lines. Frequency, right? I know sometimes that's a question when it comes to postcards. While they're thinking of questions, Jonathan, let's take a dive into the psychology of how we built the marketing strategy and the marketing plan, in conjunction with when you build out an account, what's actually happening in the background.
Sure. So for the people who have been with us the longest, and you might have been aware of our older YouTube channels, if you go back very, very far, you'll actually see the live interviews we conducted for years with top producing agents around the country, gathering all of the information we used to put that marketing plan together. And of course, you'll see some interviews recently taking place not only through this training weekly, but some other ones as well. We've done additional interviews with even other platforms and onto live seminars, collecting and sharing information with just the other top producing, not only companies, but top producing agents as well. We essentially took all of that knowledge, put it into the one calendar / workbook that all of you have access to. That's inside of the training portal, the masterclass that we always review with you. That's going to all be inside of there, all of those trainings. And then what happens as your account's being built out, we actually go into your system and start building out the core and the foundation of this sales and marketing plan, of the emails, of the text messages, of course, broken up by different leads, get different campaigns and different strategies. But inside of here, you can really start to understand the psychology and the time frame and timeline of what type of marketing is going to be rolled out for your account, and some of the different strategies we're going to work with you on implementing, as because baseline marketing is great, but if you're really looking to maximize your ROI, you're going to want to go a little bit farther and start using some of our not more advanced but a little more done with you strategies, like the 100 call campaign. So pretty much as your account's being built out, in the first even 10 to 15 days of your account being live, you're going to see more and more information being shared and more campaigns starting throughout the account as the leads are identified, opting in, and progressing through the actual marketing calendar.
Awesome, Jonathan. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So I got the marketing calendar actually up in front of them. So if you look at, we're calling this the Sales and Marketing Growth Academy. And there's basically 7 areas of focus, and the psychology behind how we built out the whole multi-channel marketing campaign and built out the whole academy is there's really 3 sections of mastery. Okay. So you have the people, which is you and your team and your ability to execute your game plan and convert leads into closings. Then you have your process, which is by which you go about executing the plan. And that's what we really focus on, is the process. That's what these trainings are all about. What processes you're using, what systems you're setting up. And then you have the tools. And that's what we want to provide, is the tools and the systems to equip your, to make sure that you're equipped and you have the right tools to go along with your game plan. And then that is broken down into 7 different categories. So you have sales and marketing system. These courses, I want to say, are all being updated as we speak. So you're going to see a lot of changes happening. Once a quarter, we try to go in and update the courses. Then you have a database marketing course. Then you have your digital marketing and lead generation. Then you have your niche marketing. So this is what we're kind of going through right now, is the geographical farming and niche marketing. Then there's a course on prospecting and sales that we're rolling out. And then a time management, and then a business growth systems, course that you're going to see. And it's all designed to be cycled through kind of in a 90-day time frame. So we're going to be going through these trainings step by step, hitting on this multi-channel marketing concept and going through each course, how it implements it. And the whole goal is obviously to give you everything you need to be able to scale. So Jonathan, let's talk about tech for a second. Let's go into V2 a little bit. And Mark, I'm gonna just call on you a little bit from a prospecting standpoint, right? Here in Beatty, obviously from a Postcard standpoint, we'll kind of do an open forum here, and let's talk about how all these can kind of come together. So, Mark, how many times? What's the rule of thumb that you should be prospecting from that channel of marketing? How many times should you be reaching out to a given lead when you're targeting that lead? Specifically, we're talking about geographical leads right now. So how many actual physical phone calls? And then Jonathan, how many texts and emails really should we be hitting on in that geographical farm?
We always talk 8 to 12 phone calls within that geographical farm. And then, and Jonathan can correct me, but I think we're over 30 contacts when it comes to all forms of contact.
Yeah, I was going to say, really, at the end of the day, it really does take 8 to 12 to start to see conversion. But that doesn't mean you have to wait 8 to 12 days. And that's really where the different pieces of technology come in. For example, our 10 days of rain, similar to most agents' 10 days of pain, actually will get 8 to 10 touches in the first 3 days of a lead being generated. The reason we're able to do that and not see an incredibly large spike in unsubscribes is because we're actually utilizing all of the different types of marketing here. So for example, they might receive 2 emails, 2 text messages, and 2 phone calls. That's already 6. And you can really add more into that, such as a social media retargeting, or even an additional email, an additional text message, or if you really are short on time, a direct to voicemail, just to help hit maybe a larger audience doing the same thing. So one of the key pieces with starting to utilize V2 is looking at how can you get those 8 to 12 touches in as fast as possible without overwhelming your database. And I would say more than 2 text messages or 3 text messages in a 3 to 5 day span, that's a pretty good amount right there, especially for a newer lead. But anything more than that, and you do risk the unsubscribe. So that's why I like to look at it as 2 phone calls, maybe 2 to 3 emails. Emails, you have a little more leniency, and 2 text messages. And that puts you right at about 7 touches. And then that's still, again, in the first 3 days of that lead being generated.
Awesome. That's great. And Beatty, postcards, how many times should a geographical lead get a postcard, and at what frequency?
Yeah, frequency is typically, if you're just going to be steady within that farm, about 18 times a year. That's about once every 3 weeks. If you're just getting a farm started and kick-started, if the budget allows, I might suggest every 2 weeks. And if you do that during the 10 days of rain and ongoing, then it adds a tactile touch that they get to grab. They get to see you on a postcard, and it's just a little bit different feel. But somewhere between every two weeks and every 3 weeks typically.
Awesome. Hey, hold up that postcard again. That looked pretty. Is that something have we seen that postcard yet?
No, this is a new design that we're working.
Cool.
That we've done.
Can we? Here, let me stop sharing my screen. Let's see it quick.
Let's see. Trying to get the glare of my camera off, so my light. Just one moment. Let me try this. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's.
Walk us through the psychology of that card, if you don't mind.
Okay, so this is the address side of the card. You can tell that because it's got an address here. And the psychology of this is we wanted to put the most handsome person we could find. And so we put that guy right there. Can you tell it?
That's great.
I know you asked for my picture, Beatty. I didn't know what you need it for.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found the second guy there.
Yeah, we asked for your picture, but Jonathan, it didn't work, so I had to go with mine. And then the psychology is pretty simple. You know, when you get your bills.
Linda says very cute and handsome, Beatty.
That's right. Very cute and handsome. Thank you. That must have been my wife. No, she's not on this. Shh, no. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah.
So the idea is pretty simple. You know, you go through you take your mail and you instantly sort it in A and B. A you keep, B is the trash. And so what we realized is that we wanted to put the most important message on the address side, because that's going to get 100% of the viewership. Whether they flip it over or not is going to depend if the address side grabs enough attention. So what we've been doing with our postcards is we've started to use the left side. This one doesn't have it, but our newer ones do. Where we're actually driving them to the website so we can identify sellers on this side, and then getting them to flip over those who have an interest with that. So,
awesome.
So that's kind of what's going on.
That's great. That's awesome. So, Jonathan, I don't know if you got V2 up, but can you give us a little preview on how maybe like how they access the different channels of marketing? We don't have to take a deep dive, but just how they get to it, just as a quick refresher.
So I'm getting it pulled up right now. It's running a little bit slow for me today, but what I can tell you guys is, if you remember from your original trainings in V1, we did all of that outreach right through the communications tab. Mm-hmm. That's going to be set up the exact same way in V2. What we did, though, to make it a little bit easier, in the communications tab, you had a lot of information just all in front of you, starting with choosing your recipients, going down to your subject line, and then the body of the email and adding content. What we did in V2, which I'm trying to get pulled up right here now, is actually a step-by-step. So it'll actually ask you to choose your recipients and walk you through the best way to do that, and then move on to choosing your subject line and other features you'd like to include in it. And then actually a third step, adding the content with instructional tips and even a video library on how to add content such as video, images, and stuff like that built into each of the processes. So we really tried to make it as simple as possible and easy to use, because we know if it gets to be too hard or if it's just not user friendly, well, then it defeats the purpose of technology, because at the end of the day, technology is supposed to make your life easier, not harder.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I want to ask, because we've covered different things. I want to ask about, while you're pulling that up, direct to voicemail. What frequency should somebody use direct to voicemail on geographical leads?
So I would say direct to voicemail, and Mark, I'd love to hear your feedback on this as well, is a great way to have a follow-up call to a call you've already made. I really don't like to make a direct to voicemail my first outreach to really any type of lead, only because, say they are available at that date and time, it's a lot harder to play phone, or it's a lot easier to get sucked into a game of phone tag that way versus trying to just, if you give them a call the first time and you connect with them, that's great, because we know speed the lead is the key to conversion, getting to them faster. If you've already called them once or twice and they're just really not getting back to you, direct to voicemail is a super quick and easy way to take all of your follow-ups and then make one blanket message going to all of them, which can really leverage your time. Because we know through our research that about after 1 to 2, sometimes 2, but normally 1 outreach, about 70% of agents won't reach out to that lead again. So this can be a great alternative to, if you have 20 to 30 leads you're in touch with that you're trying to convert, and say only about 10% of them answer on the first try, you can really capitalize that other 90% of leads using the direct to voicemail as an alternative to calling 30 people. You can direct to voicemail anybody who's not getting back to you fast enough and still have a desired effect of getting that missed call and personalization.
Yeah, that's good. I think one way you can use direct to voicemail that could be effective is if you have a listing that's in the area of your geographical farm, and let's say that or nearby, it necessarily doesn't have to be in the exact area. You could simply record a voicemail and say, hey, this is Isaiah Colton. I'm a local realtor, and I had a listing that just sold in the area. It created a very high demand for buyers, and so I was just reaching out to see if there's any conditions which you might consider selling your home. If so, give me a call back at da 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 da. If not, totally, have a great day, and something along those lines. So we actually have the scripting written out for that type of voicemail in the workbook. But again, it would go something like this. Hey, this is Isaiah Colton. I'm a local realtor. I recently sold a home in the area, and it created a ton of demand for buyers. And I was just curious to see if there's any condition which you'd consider selling your home. It's a great time. Interest rates are great. If you or anyone you know is interested, then feel free to give me a call, and then you just give your number. It's a very casual voicemail. It doesn't feel like you're soliciting, right? And whether you can pretty much use that same script when you're prospecting as well. And so when you're prospecting or when you're using direct to voicemail, it's a very, very simple strategy to generate interest. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't know what to say on my direct to voicemail. I don't know what to say when I'm prospecting. It's not complicated. You just let them know that there's a lot of buying and selling activity, and they're either going to say yes or no, right? So that's the nice thing about geographical farming when it comes to certain types of outreach. It's a very, very, very simple script and dialogue. Here's what's going to happen if you use this strategy with your hot leads, okay? If they're ranked hot, you're going to find that some of them, when you do drop that voicemail, will call you back. Now, just like any marketing, because it is a cold list when you're geographical farming, are you going to get some resistance or some negativity in your marketing? Yes or no? Mark, do you ever get hung up on where people tell you not interested and go screw when you're prospecting?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Right?
Big time. Oh, no, never.
No, yeah, never, right? Yeah. So it's right. Janet Hall says yes, yes. Tammy, yes. Right. So I just like to put that out there because I don't want there to be any hesitation. We obviously want to be respectful. We want to make sure that we're using the right strategies and tactics to make our outreach. But something that I learned from one of the most famous marketers in the world named Dan Kennedy, he said, if you haven't offended somebody by noon, okay, then you're not marketing hard enough. Right? And it's kind of a joke, but there is a little bit of truth. Like if you haven't had somebody get a little bit upset because they got a marketing piece, or maybe they got a phone call, or you caught them at the wrong time, or whatever it may be, then usually, right, if you haven't got a not interested in a day, usually that means you're not marketing hard enough, right? So if you haven't had somebody say not interested, or don't call me back, or take me off your list, usually that means you're not marketing hard enough if you haven't got that at least once in a day. Would you guys agree with that? Is that a fair statement?
Very fair. I think it really depends on the messaging that you're putting out. That decides how
it's long a lot of it too
before you do it again. You know?
Janet Hall says, and text replies. Yeah, that's right. You'll definitely get some of those through text replies. Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. But it's part of the process, right? So part of the process.
And Isaiah, I have V2 pulled up now.
Okay.
I just have to get access to screen share. I think you've got to stop, and then
Yep.
I should be able to screen share myself. All right, here we are. Okay, did that pop up for everybody there?
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, so if you log into V2, it's going to be a similar setup to V1 that we all have been using for the time being. And again, guys, this is still a little bit in beta, so it's running a little bit slow, but if you wanted to come in here and test it out, it's definitely not going to hurt anything. So right here would be your normal dashboard, your contacts, and then right below it is the communications. So a very similar setup as the old version, except for you're going to notice it's a lot cleaner and a lot easier. So I've already been in here sending out emails before, but the first time you go to your contacts tab in V2, it's actually going to have pop-up bubbles with training, and also, I guess you can call them resource documents, which is essentially a written version of the video training with the bullet points on how to utilize each feature inside of here. And the biggest thing to notice, as you can see, much less going on in here with all of the functionality you're looking for. Who would you like to send to? Who would you like to CC? Who would you like to BCC? Much easier to select your recipients in this one here. You have your subject line ready to go, and then you can easily insert any of your videos, and they'll automatically pop here on the right-hand side if you have any in your video library. Or you can insert images and or any other fields inside of the system here that you would like to use. And that's a cool feature. If you have a list of maybe past clients or someone you want your email to be a little more personalized to, check out the button that says Insert LionDesk Fields. You can actually select what field for one of your contacts, such as full name, first name, something along those lines. When you send it to those contacts, it'll actually pull that information. So it'll pull their first name. And that way, when you say hello to the person inside of the email here, it's actually going to say hello and then their first name. It is a great way to make somewhat canned information, or one that might not be as personal as another, really stand out to the person you're sending it to, because it looks like you went through and actually put in their personal information. And then in the exact same area, so this is for emails, you'll see across the top, you can also send out texts. And yes, I can leave the page here. Inside of here is a bunch of people who have already been in communication with us. It tracks all of those conversations. Some of the feedback we got in the past from V1 was it can be hard to track who's texting in, who's not. Of course, it does come to your cell phone, but sometimes you want to actually follow up inside of the system here. So it'll track every conversation, just like your Facebook Messenger or your iMessage. It's all tracked right through here in real time. And another cool feature, you can insert certain templates. So if you create one for maybe an open house or just listed, just sold, you can easily plug that template right into your text message here, as well as a video or an image. And when recording the video for these text messages or emails, you will be prompted along the way to make sure it is the right length and any of the best practices that go with it. You're going to have those supporting documents as well as a supporting video teaching you all of the best practices as well as just the basics of how to do that yourself. But at the end of the day, it's actually very easy to record a video inside of here. It's just 2 clicks of a button, which I know we talked about in some previous trainings as well. So if you're ever interested in doing it, you can easily do that right inside here. And then actually one of the bigger updates we made was now that our videos are in V2, we upgraded the amount of space available to you for videos, which simply means you can now do videos that are 90 megabytes, which is a lot closer to 5 minutes long than the 16 megabytes that we did before, which was only about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. So our best practices always say that a video should never go longer than 2 to 2.5 minutes long. But now if you did want to, if it was a little more of an in-depth video, or even if you want to do a little bit of a higher resolution video, it is now available inside of the system to support that for you along the way here. So once again, you can easily send out an email or a text message right through the communications tab right here. And now you'll be able to track those conversations in real time. And of course, customize your emails the same way you would for BombBomb or Viral or any of those video marketing programs. You can simply hit the insert video right here, and any videos you have uploaded to the system are right there and ready to go.
And our goal, if you want, is to create a system that's powerful enough where you don't need, if you don't want, to have all these other third parties to do video or to do email, and where you have to pay all these monthly fees, where you can literally just run everything out of one environment, which is going to increase your lead conversion. It's going to increase your user adoption. And if you're building a team, it's going to help you streamline your whole system and organization and make it easier to scale because everything is in one place. That's really the goal. So good stuff. Are we ready to talk about the Facebook part yet or not yet? We got to go somewhere else first.
Well, let's see. I'm going to go down here. Yes, we want to leave. So
how many people are using Facebook ads to market their listings, to target their database, or to generate new listings? Out of curiosity, how many people? Awesome. Janet's doing it. That's great. Janet, you're going to love this tool then. You're going to absolutely love this tool. Yes. And if you're using a third party, you might not have to use that third party anymore. And by the way, this is Jenny that's awesome. Janice says can't wait. This is not any extra cost. There's no upsell here. This is part of your current system. And the only reason why there would be any sort of upsell on this is if you want us to do the creative ad for you. There already are templates in there though. And also if you wanted us to actually proactively manage the campaigns for you, but you have a sales and marketing coordinator specialist that is being trained right now to use this tool to do it with you. Okay. So we have we want to let you guys know the sales and marketing coordinator is included to every core package. So they're there to do it with you at any time you have any questions about this. And you can make a decision if you want us to manage it for you or just to kind of do it with you. So Jenny says she's got to run. Yep. Awesome, Jenny. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And Jonathan, let's walk through this tool and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure. So it's simply, again, you're just over here and it's going to say add portal. Hopefully there it is, pops up. You're going to want to do the Facebook ads. Retargeting is something that we're working on as well with the custom audiences. But for today, we're going to touch a little bit more on the actual Facebook ads side of things. You simply just hit the get started button right here. And believe it or not, it is loading. Oh, there we are. And then so you can create your own ad or use it says advertise on here. Oops, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. And as you can see, the only problem we're having with it right now is it runs a little bit slow sometimes when you're doing it for the first time. But advertise your real estate listing. This will actually allow you to use one of our templates that are already built in here for you, or you can start from scratch building your own ad here.
This is so cool.
So let's try doing the this one here. you can simply see anybody who's ever used AdWorks in the past or has been a Remax agent, this is almost an identical setup to AdWorks there. And if you don't know what AdWorks is, the reason I bring up Remax is that's pretty much when you get a new listing. Usually they offer some kind of benefit like this one. Your ads are going to look very similar, except for they're actually going to be customized to you, not through a third party. So let's see what happens when you hit get started. Now you have to choose your MLS. There's actually going to be an integration made with that. We have currently about 764 different MLSs. And again, we are still loading more and more in here as we go every single day. We are hopefully going to have every MLS out there. There's just a very few that are in some of the older areas or older MLSs that we're still working on, but the vast majority should be here. So you can connect your database to Facebook. This is going to allow you to take everyone in your CRM here and actually load them as a custom audience, which means your ads and your content are going to pop up in front of them the same way as if they were your friend on Facebook or they liked your business page. You definitely want to make sure you go over here and connect to your business page. It's super easy. All you have to do is it's going to have a pop-up in the middle of your screen, and you're going to go through and actually just put in your username and password, and it all becomes connected. When that happens, any leads generated through Facebook, especially through any kind of ads like this one here, are automatically going to be added to your system with full notes and contact information and or any information they provided. So you're definitely going to want to check out and make sure your MLS is supported. And if it's not, just send us a message. We can always prioritize our clients first. But like I said, we have over 700 in here. The vast majority are already hooked up. And then, of course, you definitely want to make sure you get your Facebook connected. But then creating your own ad, it is so simple. Let's go in right here. You would just choose a blueprint, and then I hope you guys can see it and you don't have to see, I have my screen over here. Let's see this, if I can minimize. It'll actually show you a preview along the way. So you just choose your blueprint. This is just going to be how your ad is laid out. There's not a wrong ad to pick. It's just purely based on what you would prefer to see. So you can choose that one there. You also have on the left-hand side here, oops. Let's say, let me move this out of the way again. You can actually have your gallery. This is images you already have inside of there, your audiences. If you've ever worked through Facebook, these should look very, very similar.
Vorka just asked a question. She says the only thing she sees is the Arizona MLS. I believe we have to, right now it's on request to get it set up. So the relationships are created with the MLS, but to get it loaded for you, Dvorka, I believe if you got a request to be part of the beta. Is that accurate, Jonathan?
Yes, send those on over, and yes, all it is giving access to your account, and then it should be ready to go in there right away.
Yep. So Dvorka, if you want to become part of the beta, we can get your MLS set up for it.
Yep, exactly. So you would have choose your template, which is just going to be, I'll use the basic one right here. You would just choose what business page you'd like to run it through. This is, if you log in with your personal Facebook, any business page you're part of will pop up right here. You can put in your creative, which is going to show up as the text on the images itself. So like underneath, you'll see all of the words there. The headline, that's going to be very up top here. So that would be the address of a property or just anything you really want to make sure you're emphasizing. And then the description is just where you would put in any kind of relevant information, such as if it's an open house, what day and time, or if it's just details about the property, you'd put that in there as well. And then we always suggest redirecting them back to your website or to somewhere they can learn more about the property, learn more about what you're doing. And if it's not about a property, it's just self-promotion, put your Facebook business page link in there or even the link to your website. And then the call to action is always a good thing to keep in mind. You can do everything from learn more to contact us to open link to book now. Those are all, of course, circumstantial. But if you're ever not sure which one to pick, learn more is always the go-to for everyone. So if you want to make a note of that, when it comes to call to action, if you're not sure which one to pick, learn more is the one to do. Or if there's one in here you feel fits your situation better, you can always pick one of those as well. And then inside of here, you can type in a location, such as a zip code, a city, an area. And then if you remember if you remember from your intake forms, we asked for a 15-mile radius of zip codes. We can take those exact same zip codes right here and make sure this ad shows primarily in them to help build up that branding along the way. So you can drop this down to a little bit under 15, but 15 miles is what we suggest, which is why it's at the default in here. Anything smaller than that, you really start to limit your audience. There's just not enough people, unless of course you're in somewhere like New York City where 15 miles is huge. So just keep that in mind for your area, but we always suggest doing a minimum of 15 to start with. And then the very last thing you do is just simply select an audience if you already have one created. And that's the part that's still in beta here, but that is going to be something that's available to you as well. So it's really just this one page here. You can just pick a video or an image. You just put in a little bit of creative, so the body and the headline, and then just your website, the area you want to market in, you hit next, and then you just choose your schedule and your spend. Schedule is when would you like it to start, and then spend would be if you would like to boost the post or do any kind of additional audiences there. You can easily do that as well. We always suggest $3 to $5 a day to be able to get in front of easily 700 to 800 to even up to 1,000 people a day seeing these different ads out there from your designated area. And at the very end is just the checkout and summary. That's something that you just make sure it confirms your billing information for your actual Facebook, not with us. And it's really that easy to put an ad together. It takes most agents the first time around 15 minutes. And then after that, I've seen people put these together. For example, our own marketing team can put one of these ads together in about 3 to 5, if that. And most of our agents can do it in under 10. So just imagine being able to promote a listing in less than 10 minutes, and it's customized to you and helping your brand get out there to whatever areas you would like to take. And you don't have to worry about any kind of third parties other than Facebook, which is not really even a third party anymore since it's such a big part of all of our lives. You can just simply use programs you already know and trust right here to get all of the marketing and content you would ever need out on the market for you.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Thank you for the overview. Does anybody have any quick questions before we wrap it up?
I was gonna say, I can't see the chat, so if you guys could just let
Yep,
me know.
I can see the
if,
chat.
any of
Also,
those-
too,
I've got a comment.
Yeah, please.
That's brilliant. Can I use it?
I know, right?
Honestly, I've started to, when we're doing trainings internally, of course, we do so much work with Facebook. This is actually how we've been training new people on how to do it because it's so easy.
Yeah.
Doing this
So much
through
easier.
Facebook, oh my God, you need a master's degree in marketing to do this through Facebook. There's so many different layers and options and algorithms. This is just so simple. You plug your information in, and then our program does the rest for you on the back end here.
Very cool. That's awesome. Beatty, I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you if they want to make sure they're getting the full scope of the content of the multi-channel marketing approach. They're able to bring it all together. So if you could drop that link in, I think that would be great. And again, just imagine if you pick your geographical farm, yep, we're recording this for sure. We'll drop it. We're going to have the recording in the private Facebook group. So Crystal, if you want to just go back into the Facebook group, Crystal, are you a member of the Rent Success community? Just want to make sure you're a member in there. If not, let's make sure she gets an invite, and you'll see the recording. Okay, beautiful, awesome. And Beatty, if you could drop that link.
Doing it now.
Actually, she needs an invite. She said she needs an invite.
Or Claire can probably drop that link again to the group there. And then just as a quick action step for anyone, if you wanted to try out this program here, just drop the name of your MLS right into the comment section of that video. And we'll make sure that we get that turned on for you or give you an estimate on when that's going to be available to you to start beta testing this as well.
That's good. So we kind of covered mistake number 4 and 5 simultaneously. We covered both today. Number 5 was not having the right technology to implement the multi-channel marketing campaign. So just make sure that you have access to every form of marketing. We're rolling out with soon, like by show of hands, how many people are signed up to direct voicemail? How many people have direct voicemail service that they're currently using? If you don't, just to let you know, within about a month or so, we're going to have our direct voicemail service that we offer that you can actually get for us for a small upgrade. It won't be a lot, but you can get access to that. We'll have that coming in about a month. But also too, there's a lot of great services out there. So just to go through your quick checklist, okay? Text, got to have access to text. If you're a client of ours, you have that. You got to have email. You got to have video integration with all of it. You got to have postcards. You got to have your Facebook, which we just got done talking about. Direct to voicemail. Am I forgetting any? And then make sure you have your prospecting going, right? So your 7 channels of marketing, and within postcards, you got the newsletters kind of in there, mixed in there. So those are the big ones when it comes to launching multi-channel marketing campaigns. And then just making sure that you're using the 12-month sales and marketing plan as your guide to stay consistent. Because at the end of the day, what's really cool about marketing is even if you have horrible messaging, even if you're not the greatest on the phone, even if like all those things aren't there, you can still win in a big way and just and crush your competition just by staying consistent and using a multi-channel marketing approach. And then as you hone it in and you get better at conversion, you hone your messaging in, you hone your UVPs in over time, it just gets better and better and better. The number one rule is just consistency. And that's why we built the sales and marketing workbook. So just kind of keep that in mind. We have an exciting, bring your team next week. Make sure you come, obviously. We have an exciting session next week. We're going to take a deep dive into scripts, dialogues, prospecting follow-up, overcoming objections, okay? And that's next week's mistake, is not using the right scripts and dialogues when you're prospecting, not following up correctly. And then we're actually going to get into a listing presentation that I've actually built out for some personal coaching clients that literally they went from having to do multiple follow-ups to get the listing to, with this listing presentation, getting almost half of their listing presentations to sign up on the spot with this listing presentation. So that's going to kick off. It's probably going to be a 2 to 3 week session on mistake number 6, because there's a lot there, okay? But it's a big mistake not getting this right. And make sure you come next week and bring everybody, anyone that's involved in your marketing plan, and when it comes to prospecting, anyone that's going out on listing appointments for you, have them come, because this is, in my opinion, going to be the most important, one of the most important mistakes that we make sure we get right. And with that, if there's no final questions, we hope that you guys have an awesome rest of your week, and we look forward to talking again on Wednesday. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.